When we watch a typical television show, we are trained to navigate a very specific hierarchy. This diagram represents that standard world-building model. At the top sits the hero. Below them are a few supporting characters, and at the bottom is a vast, quiet base of extras who exist only to fill the background. Most stories ask us to ignore those lower levels. We focus on the glowing node at the top, while the dozens of people surrounding them are treated as narrative static. We learn to see the world as a place where only a select few lives truly drive the plot. But real life doesn't have a background cast. In the real world, every person you pass is the protagonist of a story that is just as heavy, urgent, and complicated as your own. There are no actual extras. There are only people whose stories we haven't seen yet. This is the perspective explored in the drama Our Blues. Set on the coast of Jeju Island, the show removes the concept of a single lead character entirely. Instead, it balances 14 different lives, giving each of them the same narrative weight. By removing the traditional main character, the show creates a space where every neighbor and bystander is eventually brought to the center of the frame. It's an attempt to build a story that reflects the crowded, simultaneous nature of a real community. To manage 14 different lives, the writers use a structure called the integrated omnibus. In a standard anthology, stories are isolated in their own bubbles. But in this model, every character exists within the same tangled network, constantly influencing the people around them. These characters all share the same physical space and the same local economy. Their lives center around the local fish market, where they work side by side, compete for sales, and cross paths as background figures in each other's routines. The show manages these transitions through a narrative baton pass. A character who appears as a nameless face in one episode will eventually take the lead role, with the camera following them home to reveal the specific weight of their personal life. During a high-stakes argument in the street, the camera drifts away from the shouting, settling on a vendor quietly organizing goods in the background. The next sequence then focuses entirely on that vendor, detailing her years of struggle with depression. Meanwhile, the couple who were just arguing in the street are now blurry figures walking past her in the distance. This structure forces the audience to acknowledge everyone has a reason for being where they are. No one's trauma or happiness is presented as more important than the person standing behind them. The setting of rural Jeju Island makes this interconnectedness feel natural. It is an isolated, tight-knit environment where you are geographically and socially tethered to your neighbors, making total privacy almost impossible. We see this most clearly with the Haenyeo, the traditional female sea divers. Their work requires them to function as a single unit, standing together on the shore before diving into the open ocean. Diving is a dangerous, life-threatening job. Survival in the water depends on absolute reliance on the person diving next to you. If one person struggles, the group must respond immediately. This physical dependence in the ocean forces their emotional lives to tangle together on land. Because they cannot work in isolation, they are forced to confront each other's secrets and past mistakes within the community. This geographical and economic confinement turns acquaintances into a necessary support system. The characters are held together by a shared responsibility that pushes their individual stories forward. This constant proximity means that when a character faces a personal crisis, they aren't afforded the luxury of processing it alone. Their growth and their setbacks are always witnessed and influenced by the people around them. In this ecosystem, emotional progress is always a collaborative effort. As this network shows, a person who is struggling is gradually reached by the surrounding community. Support arrives not as a grand gesture, but as a series of small connections from other nodes. A passing comment from one neighbor can ripple outward, eventually providing the clarity another character needs to face a problem they've avoided for years. Watching this story unfold asks us to reconsider our own role in the world. It is a challenge to move past the idea that we are always the center of the story, and to recognize that we are part of a much larger shared web. By finally giving every extra a voice, the show reminds us that every person we pass on the street is navigating a life as significant as our own. Acknowledging that we are all supporting characters in someone else's story is the first step toward a broader understanding of the community around us. If you enjoyed this look at how stories connect us, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into narrative structure. Thanks for watching.